The streets of Atlanta are alive, buzzing, restless. And this time, it isn't just another scandal whispered in the corners of the city. It's something bigger, something that has already begun to shake the very foundation of love and hip-hop. Everyone thought the feud between Rashida and Yandy was messy enough, two powerful women clashing in front of millions. But tonight, the noise has shifted, the whispers have grown sharper, and all eyes are now fixed on the men who were never supposed to be pulled into this storm. It started with one heated moment, one warning that crossed a dangerous line. Kirk Frost, known for his pride and temper, let words slip that no one expected to hear. Threatening Yandy was a spark. But sparks on these streets don't fade quietly, they ignite wildfires. And that single warning has now lit the fuse for a confrontation that could change everything. The city feels it, the fans feel it. You can't scroll through your feed without seeing it. Social media is on fire, exploding with debates, memes, and speculation. What happens when Kirk's rage collides with Mendeecees' loyalty? What happens when two husbands are dragged into a war that was already spiraling out of control? This isn't just gossip anymore. This is family pride, marriage, loyalty, reputation. It's the type of drama that doesn't just live on screen. It bleeds into real life. And the blogs, they can't stop running headline after headline, each one more shocking than the last. Atlanta has seen drama before, but not like this. Not with two marriages, two households, and two men about to face the test of loyalty in front of millions. Mendeecees has built a reputation for staying calm, for keeping his cool when chaos erupts around him. But every fan knows that when a man who usually stays silent finally decides to speak, his words land harder than fists. And now the silence is cracking. The whispers say he's furious. They say he's pacing. They say he's ready to step in for his wife in a way no one expected. That's what makes this moment so electric. It's not just a feud. It's the suspense of knowing that a collision is coming, but no one knows when or how. The air is heavy with possibility, the kind of possibility that keeps fans glued to their screens, waiting for the next headline to drop. Think about it. Kirk has always fought to defend his pride, his marriage, his name. Yandy, on the other hand, never backs down, no matter the pressure. And now Mendeecees is in the crossfire, dragged into a storm that forces him to make a choice. Stay in the shadows or step into the fire and defend his wife with everything he has. And that's the question burning across every comment section right now. What happens when husbands collide? What happens when family loyalty outweighs television drama? Fans are hooked because this isn't scripted shade. This is raw emotion. This is a storyline that hit too close to home. It's not about who threw the first shot anymore. It's about who's willing to stand tallest when the cameras are rolling and the pressure is boiling over. One insider described it best. Kirk's warning didn't just rattle Yandy, it lit a fire in Mendeecees. And once that fire spreads, there's no stopping it. The stage is set, the tension is explosive, and Atlanta is bracing for impact. Because one truth is clear. This feud isn't just between Rashida and Yandy anymore. It's bigger, it's louder, and it's about to test every bond these families thought they could protect. So buckle up, the ride has just begun. It only takes a second for a scandal to travel. 1 second, one clip, one careless moment that someone caught on camera, and Atlanta never looked the same again. That's exactly what happened with Kirk's warning to Yandy at first. It was just heat in the room, just words thrown in the middle of tension. But once the cameras captured it and the clip made its way online, it was no longer a private argument. It became a viral storm. The video wasn't polished. It wasn't staged. It was shaky, grainy, almost accidental. But sometimes it's the raw footage that cuts the deepest. A few seconds of Kirk leaning in, his voice low, sharp, filled with Mendeecees. And then Yandy's face, shocked but unbroken, standing her ground. That was all the internet needed. The clip exploded within minutes. Someone uploaded it to Twitter. Another posted it on TikTok. Instagram Reels picked it up. Before the hour was over, the warning had been seen by thousands. By morning, it was millions. Hashtags erupted like fireworks. Kirk vs Yandy. Our protect Yandy. Mendeecees Steppen fans dissected every second frame by frame. Did Kirk really mean it as a threat? Was Yandy pushing him too far? Or was this proof that the couple's feuds had finally crossed into dangerous territory? The debates didn't cool the fire. They poured gasoline on it. Bloggers went live. YouTubers posted reaction videos. Podcasters recorded emergency episodes analyzing tone, body language, and hidden meanings. Some claimed Kirk's words were empty posturing. Others swore it was a direct warning, the kind of line no husband could ignore. And then came the edits. Fans clipped the video, slowed it down, replayed it in loops. They added captions. They dropped dramatic soundtracks underneath. Every version made it more cinematic, more damning, more unforgettable. But the most powerful thing wasn't the editing. It was the silence after Kirk's words. That pause, that tension hanging heavy in the air. Yandy didn't back down. She didn't even blink. That moment of defiance became the still frame that spread everywhere. A woman standing tall in the face of pressure. A man daring her to fold. And in the background, whispers of what Mendeecees would do next. The internet thrives on speculation. And this was pure oxygen. Fans flooded comment sections with theories. He's not going to let this slide. Mendeecees is too calm. And that's the scariest thing. The reunion episode's going to be fire. Meanwhile, the clip kept multiplying. Shade Room picked it up. Hollywood Unlocked shared it. Even gossip sites outside the love and hip-hop universe latched on. Suddenly, it wasn't just VH1 fans talking. It was mainstream. It was everybody. And the timing made it even worse. The clip dropped on a Friday night. That meant an entire weekend of non-stop discussion. No breaks, no distractions. Just pure, unfiltered chaos rolling across every platform. The blogs called it the warning her heard around Atlanta, and for good reason. Everyone from casual viewers to diehard fans felt the tension. This wasn't the kind of clip you scroll past. It was the kind that stopped you cold. Made you replay. Made you text your friends immediately. Did you see this? That's how scandals grow. Not through official channels. Not through the episodes. But through those tiny moments that sneak out. The ones producers can't fully control once the fans take hold. And now, the story was no longer in the hands of the cast. It belonged to the internet. Even celebrities chimed in. A few Atlanta rappers dropped cryptic tweets. A reality star from another franchise posted popcorn emojis. Suddenly, it wasn't just gossip. It was cultural currency. If you weren't talking about Kirk's warning, you were behind the curve. By Sunday night, think pieces were dropping. Reuters broke down the larger meaning. Was this about gender dynamics in relationships? Was it about public respect versus private loyalty? Or was it simply another chapter in reality TV's long history of chaos? Every angle added weight, every post added pressure, and every share pulled Mendeecees deeper into the storm, whether he wanted it or not. Because one truth was undeniable. When millions are watching your family's name trend worldwide, silence doesn't feel like strength anymore. It feels like surrender. And that's the dilemma the viral clip created. It didn't just expose a warning. It forced the next move. Someone had to respond. Someone had to break the silence. And everyone knew exactly who that someone was. The world wasn't just waiting for Kirk or Yandy anymore. They were waiting for Mendeecees. The moment the clip went viral, the spotlight shifted straight to Mendeecees. The husband who rarely lets anger dictate his actions. The man fans describe as calm until calm is no longer an option. At first, no one heard from him directly. No posts, no interviews, no sudden live streams. But silence can speak louder than words. And in this case, his silence sparked an even louder storm. Whispers started flooding Atlanta almost instantly. Friends of friends claimed they saw him pacing, moving back and forth, phone in his hand, eyes locked on the screen, replaying Kirk's warning over and over, not saying much, but saying everything through his body language. The city has always known Mendeecees as a protector, a provider, a man who shields his family from unnecessary battles. But this was different. This was public disrespect. And public disrespect demands a public reaction. Rumors flew that he called Kirk that very night. That the conversation wasn't polite. That the tone was sharp, clipped, edged with fury. Others insisted he reached out to producers first, demanding to know why such a dangerous moment was allowed to spread unchecked. No one could confirm. No one could deny. But the stories kept multiplying. Fans on Twitter painted their own narrative. He's not the type to rant online. He's the type to move in silence and strike when it counts. Others argued the fact that he's quiet means he's plotting his next move. And the theories only pushed the tension higher. In the Frost household, some believed Kirk shrugged off the drama. But deep down, even he had to know. When you threaten a man's wife on camera, you've crossed into dangerous territory. Mendeecees isn't a man who plays with boundaries like that. Insiders swore he barely slept that weekend. That he walked the hallways of his home. He barely slept that weekend. That he walked the hallways of his home. Thinking, processing, measuring every possible response. Because for him, the decision wasn't just about anger. It was about legacy, respect, manhood. Some claimed he confided in close friends. One of them allegedly said, Mendeecees doesn't yell. He doesn't make empty threats. But when his patience runs out, you feel it in the room before he even opens his mouth. That's the energy fans began sensing. A slow burn. A dangerous calm. The type of composure that makes people nervous because it means the explosion hasn't happened yet, but it's coming. By Monday morning, gossip blogs reported seeing him in public, head down, focused. Not engaging with cameras, not flashing a smile, not playing the celebrity role. Instead, he moved like a man carrying something heavy on his mind. And that only made the narrative darker because the public didn't want him calm. They wanted fire. They wanted rage. They wanted proof that he would defend Yandy with the same ferocity she always shows when she stands up for him. Pressure kept building. Every headline screamed louder. Wiley's respond. Is a showdown coming? Family war brewing in Atlanta. His brand was on the line. His marriage was on the line. And more than anything, his reputation as a man who protects his household was being tested in real time. It was never about whether he loved Yandy. That was obvious. It was about whether the world would see him step forward in a way no one could ignore. And when rumors leaked that he had already reached out to a few cast members privately, asking questions, demanding clarity, that was enough to send the internet into overdrive because those whispers confirmed what fans had been waiting to hear. He wasn't ignoring it, he was preparing. That's the part that shook people the most. Not an outburst, not a rant, but a man quietly strategizing, watching, and waiting for the perfect moment to make his move. In Atlanta, people have a saying, it's not the man who yells you should fear, it's the one who stays quiet until the last second. And right now, Mendeecees is that man.com on the surface, raging underneath. The clock is ticking, and when he finally decides the time has come, the fallout will be impossible to contain. The silence didn't last forever. Behind closed doors, Mendeecees made his move. Not with a post, not with a flashy statement, but with direct communication. Word spread fast that Kirk's phone rang late at night. The caller ID, and the tone of that call, according to insiders, was colder than anyone expected. No shouting, no screaming, just firm words, measured, sharp. Like a man who knew exactly what he wanted to say and wasn't afraid to let it cut through the line. One source claimed the first thing he told Kirk was simple: don't ever disrespect my wife again. No long intro, no build-up, just the boundary laid out in a voice that carried weight. Others whispered the conversation stretched beyond that. That Mendeecees pressed him, demanded to know if the warning was scripted drama or a genuine threat. And when Kirk tried to downplay it, the call got even tenser. Allegedly, Kirk insisted people were blowing things out of proportion, that the clip looked worse than it really was. But Mendeecees wasn't buying it because when your wife is the target, excuses don't erase the damage. The call, whether short or long, ended with no reconciliation, no peace agreement, just two Mendeecees on opposite sides of a line that could no longer be erased. But that wasn't the only communication. Rumors flew that text messages were exchanged the next morning, brief, direct, almost hostile. One insider swore Kirk's words were defensive, almost dismissive. Another insisted Mendeecees responded with silence, leaving the last message unread as a sign that the conversation wasn't worth continuing. Meanwhile, whispers circled that producers also received calls where Mendeecees demanded answers. Why wasn't this cut? Why was it allowed to spread? Why was his wife being dragged into public disrespect with no guardrails in place? The producers, according to sources, tried to calm him, tried to remind him that conflict drives ratings, but that only fueled the fire. Because for Mendeecees, this wasn't about television, this was about family, and no producer could spin that truth into entertainment without consequences. Social media, of course, filled in the blanks with their own imagination. Fans tweeted mock transcripts of the phone call. They created memes with imaginary text messages. One viral post even read, "Kirk better keep his phone on silent because Mendeecees ain't done yet." The speculation became part of the storyline. The idea that private calls were happening only made the feud feel more real, less like a TV plot, more like a genuine war playing out off camera. And that's where things got dangerous. Because when fans believe the conflict is bigger than the show, the stakes rise. Suddenly, everyone is watching Kirk's next move. Everyone is studying Yandy's posts. Everyone is waiting for Mendeecees to break his silence publicly, even though privately he had already spoken his piece. What made this chapter so compelling was the mystery. No one had recordings of the calls, no screenshots of the texts, only whispers, only fragments. But those fragments were enough to build a firestorm of speculation. People in Atlanta claimed they could feel the tension just by being in the same rooms these men moved through. Cold stares, long pauses, polite words, hiding deeper anger. And if the private calls proved anything, it was this. Mendeecees wasn't going to let the situation slide. Even if the public hadn't yet seen his response, Kirk knew exactly where he stood. The line had been drawn in private before it would ever explode in public. And now both men were trapped. Kirk defending his pride, Mendeecees defending his wife. 2 phones, 2 conversations, and 1 war that was only just beginning. Once the clip spread, the fans became the engine driving the storm. Every platform, every feed, every corner of the internet lit up with reactions. Twitter was the first battleground. Within hours, hashtags were trending across the city and beyond. The Kirks Yandy her protect Yandy at Team Mendeecees, each one louder than the last, each one stacking pressure on the Frosts, the Smiths, and everyone in between. Memes appeared faster than news updates. Screenshots of Kirk's warning were turned into GIFs. Clips of Yandy's defiant expression were looped endlessly, and fans added their own captions, their own spin, their own fire. It wasn't just commentary anymore, it was creativity. The internet took a tense moment and transformed it into cultural currency. On TikTok, things escalated even further. Creators reenacted the confrontation. They layered dramatic music over the clip. They acted out what they imagined Mendeecees would do when he finally confronted Kirk. Some of these videos racked up millions of views within days. The feud had officially left the show. It was now living in the algorithm. Instagram Reels amplified it. Next, influencers posted reactions. Relationship coaches weighed in. Even fitness trainers and lifestyle bloggers used the clip to spark conversations about respect, loyalty, and boundaries. The story had become bigger than entertainment. It was now a mirror for personal opinions, life lessons, and heated debates. And then came the division. Because fans didn't just comment, they picked sides. Some rallied behind Yandy, praising her for standing firm, for refusing to let Kirk intimidate her. Others argued Kirk had been provoked, that the moment was being exaggerated for drama. Every opinion created more conflict. Every post created more fuel. YouTube became the long-form war zone. Reaction channels uploaded hour-long breakdowns. Body language experts analyzed the clip frame by frame. Podcasters turned it into episodes with guests debating who was right, who was wrong, and what it all meant for the future of love and hip-hop. What fascinated viewers most wasn't the clip itself anymore. It was the anticipation. Everyone was waiting for the next move. Would Mendeecees finally speak? Would Kirk double down? Would Rashida or Yandy escalate the feud even further? The waiting game only tightened the suspense. And in that waiting game, fans filled the silence with their own voices. Comment sections read like battlefields. Yandy did nothing wrong. Kirk better watch himself. This isn't the one to play with. Every side convinced they were defending the truth. The frenzy grew so intense that even celebrities joined in. A well-known rapper tweeted that Mendeecees was about to set Atlanta on fire. A reality star from another network posted popcorn emojis. And athletes, comedians, even fashion influencers chimed in with opinions. Suddenly, this wasn't just love and hip-hop gossip. It was mainstream conversation. What made it even more explosive was the speed. By the time one headline broke, another was already trending. By the time Kirk or Yandy tried to frame their side, thousands of fans had already created their own narrative. Control was gone. The internet had taken over. Blogs leaned in hard. Shade Room dropped updates by the hour. Hollywood Unlocked pushed the feud into bigger markets. Even traditional outlets started covering it, not as entertainment, but as culture, because at its core, this wasn't just drama. It was about loyalty, family, and respect in the spotlight. And that theme resonated everywhere. The hashtags told the story best. They weren't just tags anymore. They were battlegrounds. Fans united under them, fought under them, built entire campaigns under them. And once something becomes a hashtag war, it rarely dies quickly. By the end of the week, one truth was undeniable. The fans weren't spectators anymore. They were participants. They had seized control of the narrative, and their energy was participants. They had seized control of the narrative, and their energy was. Some left quietly, not wanting to be part of what came next. Others stayed, eyes wide, waiting for another eruption. Every second felt like a countdown to something worse. But the explosion never came. Security and producers shut the night down. Cameras stopped rolling. Lights dimmed. The storm ended in silence, but its echoes followed every person who walked out of that room. The slap wasn't just a scene. It became a dividing line. Before the slap, there was conflict. After the slap, there was war. Fans would argue for weeks. Some praised Mendeecees for defending Yandy. Others condemned him for letting his hands speak louder than his words. But no one denied it. The moment had changed the trajectory of the entire season, maybe even the franchise itself. For the cast, wounds were deeper than what cameras could show. Friendships fractured, alliances shifted, even those uninvolved were forced to pick sides. The ripple effect was unstoppable, and now the question lingers in the air. What comes next? Does Kirk strike back? Does Rashida demand retribution? Does Yandy celebrate the defense or fear the cost of it? And what about Mendeecees? Does he stand firm or regret the path his anger carved? One thing is certain. The audience won't look away. They'll be waiting. Refreshing feeds, replaying clips, debating every word, every gesture, every ounce of fallout. Because this story isn't finished. It's only entering its most dangerous chapter yet. If you think the slap was the peak, think again. The fire has only begun to burn, and the next move could change everything. Stay tuned. Subscribe now. Hit that notification bell because the next episode isn't just drama, it's survival. It's survival.